So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Of course, the Geester's World. So, this is my guilty pleasures, right? Hot topics, um, the reality TV period, Disney Plus. Um, we also, everyone has had their thing, and we always got to talk about, the scallywag of the day. Shout out to DBN Pride. Make sure you like, subscribe, and keep following. Follow our personal host pages as well. So let's get into it. Of course, what you see going on the side here was the Nicki Minaj and Lotto beef. What makes that so interesting? Obviously, I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm obviously Team Lotto, but for a good reason in the situation. Because the first week of the first round voting for the Grammys, they started mad shit, controversy, obviously, in the hip hop world and beyond, bringing sparring between rappers Nicki Minaj and Lotto into the open. It hit on Twitter. It was crazy. We were all watching it. Shout out to my sources because they definitely were screenshotting exactly at the minute it was going on. But as the Twitter war between the two went full board on that Thursday night, into that Friday morning, Minaj called the newcomer an entitled Karen, while Lotto returned fire by saying Minaj was a 40-year-old bully, acting in a way of unbecoming of her age and stature. The younger artist even referred to Minaj as my idol turned rival, and the conversation went nuclear. Super freaky grandma is married and related to fucking rapists. You ain't gonna bully me, bitch. My idol turned rival, how you hating? Minaj has since deleted her tweets aimed at Lotto, while as this story is being published, the Lotto's part of the War Awards remain up on the platform. Before things got really heated, Lotto addresses Minaj's request for her support in protesting the Grammy screening committee decision to watch Super Freaky Girl from rap to pop category. So listen, let's just get into that really quickly. Let's unpack it. At the end of the day, like what I've noticed is with Nicki Minaj is like a tantrum every 2 seconds, a tantrum every 2 seconds. So let's just leave it as it is, girl. Like Nicki be having a point. Because, the Barbs love to tussle. They love to be, on some crazy shit. I really don't give a fuck at the end of the day. I'm not a fan of Nicki Minaj's personal choices and how she handles certain things. Is she a great lyricist? Hell yeah. She a rapper who broke, cultural impacts and doors down? Hell yeah. But also, is she someone really petty? Literally, obviously, Mrs. Petty. Yes, you're married to a sex offender. Guess what? None of this shit would be brought up every day or differently if you wasn't constantly trying to bring someone else into your conversations and point. At the end of the day, your Grammy fight, you could have made a point with it without bringing Lotto into the situation. It just seems like you're always shitting on the girls who are actually making it, and it seems really, apparent now. So at the end of the day, Nicki Minaj, the world is getting tired of it, and you're kind of destroying your legacy. We'll always remember as, yeah, you did that for the culture, but fuck you though. We're not gonna sit here just because you're who you are. Allow you to just bully bitches. Like she's 23 years old while you're almost in your 40s. So like, cut it out. Seems like you're picking up any 20-year-old that comes into the game and has talent. Like these girls looked up to you. Lotto over probably thousands of times have like shouted you out, and not for the clout because you obviously ignored her. What did you say? 3 times on your request. So yeah, if y'all checking out the tweets on here while I'm talking, like it's really ridiculous, like the way Nicki Minaj needs to come at. The thing is like we could agree with you, Nicki, on how it's being done. Now, for the Grammys, yeah, I ain't shit for that. At the end of the day, you could have nominated Nicki Minaj, right, for whatever category you wanted to put her in, and then not give her the award if you wanted to be petty, because y'all done it to Jay-Z and other artists, and we all know that. But at the end of the day, to like not give her a nomination, it just makes me question, like, on the board of Grammys, like, where y'all really going with this? So, shout out to Lotto though. She did get nominated for Best New Artist and Best Rap Performance. That doesn't mean we should take away from Lotto's like congratulations because of what Nicki's feeling. So, Barb's, if y'all truly a fan base, tell your girl to just shut the fuck up. Like nobody wants to hear hate in between her points all the time. And then she says it's because she's a darker girl, and it's like, girl, there's plenty of dark, beautiful women who are making it in the game, right? Without having to be so classless. So that's just the end of that. Okay, check out that real quick. You know, I've been letting that play on loop so y'all can see because there was so much going on. They were going back to back to back to back. You know, but that recent tweet hashtag talking about hashtag no Grammy for Granny. I ain't gonna lie. That was funny, but Grammys, what you did wasn't funny. But that hashtag, it was funny. I said it. Yep.
In order to make
All
America
right,
great and
Trump is
glorious
running
again,
for
I am tonight
president
announcing
once
my candidacy for
again.
President of the
Dum
United
dum
States.
dum. Okay, but does that get him off the legal hook? Makes it a little more complicated for them to like investigate a little more stuff like that. It gets into a little more sticky for him on his side too, because now the people who are in the Republican Party
In
can't
order to
really
make
pay for his
America
lawyers
great
and
and
stuff as they
glorious
have
again,
been.
I am tonight announcing
No
my
tea, no shade.
candidacy for
But at the
President
end
of
of the
the
day,
United States.
this time I'm not gonna sit here and spend, 2 years left of the time before the election arrives and go on this bashing rant, okay? We know what Donald Trump is about. We know who Donald Trump
In
is.
order to
We
make
know what
America
Donald
great and
Trump's
glorious
intentions are.
again,
We
I
know
am
how he
tonight
is
announcing my
winning. At
candidacy
the end
for
of the day,
President of the United
Republicans should
States.
be concerned with the direction their party has been going following the 2020 presidential election. That, sorry, Trump supporters. I know it's hard because there's like this denial thing, but you lost. But the worst part was the January 6th situation with the insurrection of the Capitol.
In order to
Our
make
democracy has
America
always been in
great and
trouble since
glorious
then.
again, I am
But at the end
tonight
of the day,
announcing my
watching the former
candidacy
president
for President
making this
of the
announcement, I
United
became
States.
worried that for the third time, are we going to fall for all the decisiveness? Instead of trying to be a unifier, he's coming at the Republican prominence that are trying to come into the game and play, right? So at the end of the day, he's not even playing nice with his own party. I think your party's in trouble, our democracy's in trouble, and Americans'
In order
votes
to
are
make
in
America
trouble
great
when
and
it comes
glorious
to
again,
Trump
I am
coming
tonight
into the play.
announcing my candidacy
Um,
for President of the
Republicans,
United
you
States.
stand by moral, as you say, moral values and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I know people say out there that, as a Democrat, there's extremists, but I think there's extremist sides from everybody. You know what I mean? I can sit here and let me finish correcting what I'm saying. As a Democrat, my view is still going to be country over party.
In order
But
to make
Republicans, you
America
guys
great and
gotta check it
glorious
and be
again,
like,
I am
is this
tonight
what you stand
announcing
for?
my
Because there's just too many of
candidacy
y'all
for
being silent
President of
into the
the United
situation,
States.
and it ain't cool. And what your party's representing right now is not cool. Women's rights being taken, not cool. These bills being denied by mostly Republican votes, not cool. And we saw a huge wave in the midterm situation where Democrats, not a
In order to
humongous blue
make America
tsunami,
great
but we
and
definitely had
glorious
a very
again, I
blue
am
wave.
tonight
So at the
announcing
end
my
of the day, like I'm
candidacy
not
for
saying that we need
President
to
of
live
the
in a
United
blue
States.
country because my favorite part about America is seeing both sides of the situation. But the Republican Party is in shambles right now. So seeing that you guys are in shambles, either pick a better candidate or step down and let Donald Trump lose. And for Democrats, it's time to start caring about the communication that you have with your people, including me or anyone else,
In
because
order
at
to
the end
make
of the day,
America great
we're
and
not doing a
glorious
good
again, I
job
am tonight
um,
announcing my candidacy
getting the
for
message
President
out the
of the
right way.
United
We're
States.
jumping into these fights and making it worse. And we're shark eat shark situation as well over here, eating up our own teammates and prominent colleagues and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, I think Democrats need to get it together too with their information and how it's getting out there too. I think right now politics is in a
In order to
shambles, but at
make
the end of the day, of
America great and
American
glorious
voters,
again,
we're
I
the
am
ones that can
tonight
fix
announcing
this
my
and just make
candidacy for President of
the
the
direction we
United
want to
States.
head to. Okay? So let's get that shit together and make sure Donald Trump don't win though. Period. Period. So for my brother Kanye, honestly, I just musical genius, creative, lyricist, fashion mogul, creates other fashion moguls. Um, you know, and infamous now. You know what I mean? and also possibly another Republican candidate for 2024. I don't know, but I'm definitely not going to entertain that. But the list is growing on companies and projects that have severed ties with the West. Most recently, obviously, Adidas. West was escorted from Los Angeles offices of Skechers. Like, none of that is fake news. It's really real. Trying to meet with executives there with the Yeezy brand, right? Other companies who have acted included Balenciaga, CAA, MRC Entertainment. They also said they were not moving forward with the completed documentary about the musician. Bob Gersh, UTA's Jeremy Simmer, joined Emmanuel in condemning West's speech as well. I'm not going to repeat everything he said, but you know, the anti-Semitic tweet he made, I ain't cool with it. Everything else he has talked about, like, that is a real thing, and I'll get into that in a second. But Forbes on Tuesday as well no longer put them on the list of billionaires. West has been in the spotlight since his DEF CON 3 tweet claims alleged mistreatment by Jewish people. So, even Donda Academy has gotten shut down for the next school year. Those who continue to do business with West are given misguided hate and a whole bunch of hate in the audience. You know what I mean? In the Twitter world, social media. So this is a moment in history where the stakes are high, and being open about our values and living with them is essential. Silence and inaction are not an option. But is this really, really fair what they're doing to Kanye? Now, before y'all, motherfucker trying to tell me, I'm, for the ones that like to hate, not my G babies, but for the ones that love to hate and try to be like, oh, gee, you just find it a certain way. No, what he said is so wrong. I stand with you, Jews. Now, at the end of the day, what I cannot stand is the people who post, I stand with Jews, even our people want to write, I stand with Jews, right? But then leave Kanye to hang when he's actually making points. At the end of the day, Kanye, the problem I'm having with you is you got a point, but how you're delivering it sucks and it brings hate. I get that it works for Trump and everybody else that, you if you get more followers for hate and stuff, but it's really not cool because we used to look up to you, not in like, oh my God, you're Jesus. The fact that you are, an icon and you had real words and common sense and imagination as well. But it seems like you lost your track of mind on how you're delivering the message. So again, my opinion, and I just gonna keep it real. So many of us will be like, our white boss or our white friend or our white thing. We do all types of shit like that. Our Puerto Rican friend, like our Spanish friend, like we do it all the time, right? The end of the day, I think you needed to direct your hate to whoever's running Adidas, whoever was running the media situation, that anything that you had an issue with or an endeavor or anything that you felt controlled or whatever the case may be, because it's real, the shit that you talking about. But the fact is, because it's not like you gave out new news either. My issue is that you didn't have to bring a whole generalization of one community with all that hate. You know what I mean? Like the Holocaust was no joke. Like, and that's not something we should joke about, and that's not something that is okay to joke about. So with Kanye West, I honestly just pray for you, bro. And because I just hope things get back for you the way they need to, and that your kids see the influential man that you could be, because no tea, no shade, but their mama is something else. So they're gonna need you. So I ain't gonna be on my show trying to bash you them like a motherfucker. Because at the end of the day, like, I love Kanye. So shout out to the Yeezy brand. I hope you figure it out with that too. And shout out to the Jews that have nothing to do with his career choices or what's going on with his pain. I stand with you guys. I stand with Kanye when it's time to the industry to treat, black people way, way more kindness, because it makes no sense all this hate of canceling everything he's done. But there's white people who've been doing worse: sexual assaults, rape, murders, all types of stuff, and they, get away with it and still have a career and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, like, the visuals and the optics matter as well. So prayers for Kanye at the end of all this. Y'all know that I'm like the illest Disney fanatic. You know what I mean? Oh, let's skip that ad. Don't we hate ads? All right. So, I saw Disenchanted, and it was amazing. I would have to say my two favorite songs were from Medina Menzel, "Love Power," and then the one with Amy Adams and Maya Rudolph, "Batter." Like they killed it. "Batter" was just like this I'm a bad bitch song, Too Wicked, one was playing the wicked stepmother and all that stuff. But it was directed by Adam Shankman. The story is set about a decade after the events depicted in the original first film. Giselle and a high-powered Manhattan lawyer Robert, played by Patrick Dempsey, McDreamy, have married, have a baby named Sophia. So it becomes like the stereotypical, like, fucked up teen that's just angry at everything, doesn't like her life the way it is, blah, 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 blah. Cute ass movie. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm going to spoil some of it because I did see it, so y'all should have saw it, okay? Because when things drop, watch it. But I won't do too much spoiling. I would have to say like the first couple songs I was like man, and I love me a good musical. But anything with Adina is really killer. You know what I mean? Amy Adams, I'm a total fan of Amy Adams, and I would say, girl, you got that vocal training on point this time. Like you were killing it, and you're a little thicker to it. Look good. It looked good on you. It looked really, really good on you. But the movie itself, guys, it's kind of like daughter's a teenager now because it's like a whole 10 years. It's like, damn, Disney, we just jumped 10 years. But all right, that makes sense, right? That took us like 10 years. Felt like 10 years. Um, so 10 years later, teenager's acting up. She kind of hates life. And she's kind of still like the princess vibe. And she was like, mom, mom, mom. And then she gets really like, I hate world teenager. I hate the world type of teenager. So she's like, you're a stepmother. And to her, she comes from fairy tale land. Like what I realized in fairy tale land, there ain't no good stepmother. Shout out to Maleficent. She was like a kidnapping stepmother. You know what I mean? But she was a good one technically. But I don't know. Yeah, stepmothers, I guess, in fairy tale land is a bad thing. So she felt so hurt, and I feel like you kind of understand that hurt because she comes from where she comes from, and then she makes a wish, and yeah, all hell breaks loose. You just got to see the movie because I don't want to tell you what the twist is and what the wish is. I ain't gonna be shady like that, but I will say watch the movie. I definitely enjoyed it. Y'all should check it out. Disenchanted on Disney Plus, streaming it now. All right, so I definitely checked out the series, the Santa Clauses. I know we all love the Santa Claus movies, like at the end of the day. So should we, when we hear iconic movies become shows, we usually be like, meh, meh, meh. Like we're kind of like hasty about it. We're very skeptical about it. We ain't really fucking with it. You know what I mean? But Disney Plus hasn't been disappointed. Disney Plus seems like they're putting all this shit in the right places. So the question is, should you stream it or skip it? I say stream it. First two episode drop. So listen, the opening shot, a reindeer's eye view of the water as we pan out to see the New York at night, right? On Christmas Eve, no less, as we make our way into tech mogul Simons, who's played by Cal Penn. Shout out to Cal. In his home, right? He's on a Zoom call with his employees instead of helping his daughter decorate the Christmas tree. All right, some cute shit happens in that moment. I don't want to, spoil everything, like I said, but at the end of the day, like some cute, magical Santa shit happens. But there's like not. She's so busy in this like work from home and always working situation, and like you just got to see that part on your own. But it's a beautiful, like, magical moment, right? But the gist is, it's been 28 years since Scott Calvin took over Santa after St. Nick's accidental death. Santa has this whole Father Christmas thing down pat. All right, let me tell you, 28 years. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, 28 years later. Disney's not playing. They were like, you look a little older, so we're about to throw out like some crazy age on this situation. So he got like teenage kids, but these teenage kids are obviously raised in the North Pole, so they've never been raised around any other kids. So that becomes an in-depth situation. So it's much more than just a cutesy movie. Are you gonna get the same Santa Claus vibes that you get from the movie? Hell yeah. Instead of them putting it in a 1 hour and a half movie, they're giving you like half-hour movies. And they're calling it chapters each episode. So the first two chapters are already out. And we're even gonna get like more in depth, of it. Like, what does the show like remind me of? It would be like, it's just a Santa Claus franchise, like the movie. Like, you got Tim Allen killing the Santa Claus role, making the weight gain situation a montage of like the Eye of the Kringle. The North Pole is still the same, including the terrifying fireplace shaped like Santa's head, like all types of shit. You know what I mean? There's even elves just want to have fun dance routine. Okay, I'm spilling a lot of stuff. But more intriguing is the subplot they got with Elizabeth Mitchell, who is Mrs. Claus, right? At the end of the day, doesn't talk about why we don't know about the previous Mrs. Claus. Why does Mrs. Claus have to have their hair in a bun? Doesn't talk, have to dress like a old grandma, no tea, no shade. But at the end of the day, it goes into that subplot. So there are great questions and way more interesting than a plot about the lack of Christmas spirit in this series. There's way more. So I just can't wait. Whether you stick around to see if the series answers Mrs. Claus's questions depends largely how much you and your kids are into the seasonal franchise. Jokes like Santa saying that he looks more of an MMA fighter and less than of an M&M eater. I say stream it. It's a good time. I enjoyed it. Episode 3 will be coming out November 23rd. The Santa Claus series is already streaming on Disney Plus. Y'all should all go check it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in to Geester's Guilty Pleasure. I hope you continue to enjoy the show. All right, so Scallywag of the Week is going to go to none other from Hot 97 radio show host Peter Rosenberg. Listen, this fool landed in hot water for suggesting that Kelly Rowland played second to Queen Bee during their time in Destiny's Child. Peter Rosenberg. So at the end of the day, like, he tweeted a video clip on Thursday capturing him discussing the incident with his co-host on the show Ebro in the morning. Shout out to DJ Ebro, one of the icons I look up to. He says he messed up. Rosenberg says he sent the singer a message to apologize for the exchange. He said, I fumbled the ball. Kelly Rowland to me is like obvious. She's an iconic star that I didn't think twice about bringing up in a conversation. Rosenberg said he was clumsy and understood why people criticized him. The Grammy winner gracefully shut down the host and commenting that day on the interview, and this one right here, by saying, here's the thing, light attracts light. I am light. I am a beautiful brown shining light. So I don't think anybody's light dims anyone else's. I think when other people start to compare you, that's when it shows how dim they are of themselves. Now that's how you read a room, honey. That's how you read a room. At the end of the day, the Grammy winner had a wide praise response on Twitter. After the interview was posted online, everybody started talking about it. Black Twitter does not play, including celebrities had jumped into it. Cheryl Lee Ralph wrote, and this is why I love Kelly Rowland, you better shine. Halle Berry. Kelly Rowland's a beautiful soul and human being. Kelly Rowland responded on Twitter saying, thanks for all the love. I know y'all got my back. Honestly, we got your back too. The Beehive, we love Queen Bee. We know she is Queen Bee. She is the epitome of what star is. We also don't look at it like there's not enough space for everyone. You don't come up to Adele ever and say, hey, Adele, how do you feel playing second to, Celine Dion, being known as someone who sings these big, beautiful songs and all. Like, that's not what we do, right? But when it comes to Black women, it seems like we want to pin them together. And especially Beyonce and Destiny's Child itself, we do this pinning together situation. At the end of the day, Kelly Rowland has made a path and a very successful one for herself, even after Destiny's Child. But being in Destiny's Child itself is like a humongous accolade to be part of and be instrumental in. So at the end of the day, so all y'all who would probably agree with that thought process, That's not how anyone should be compared to unless we did that to everybody. But we don't do that to everybody. At the end of the day, I think it was more or less we do this more to the black females in our culture, the brown girls in our culture. Okay, like we do this to Mindy, we do this to Rihanna, we do this to Chloe, we do this to Normani, we do this. It's just not cool. So at the end of the day, on my show, I ain't gonna do it. Well, we're gonna try really hard not to do it because if we naturally do it, y'all better call me out on it because I call everybody out. So you better call me out on it. But I'm on Team Kelly Rowland on the way she responded. Y'all better check it out on DJ Ebro's YouTube channel. That interview was very good. It was about her and Marseille, Boss Lady, coming out with a new movie. Because, clickbait will get you clipped, but this is a 22-minute interview. So that was about a movie that's actually coming out that Kelly Rowland is starring in. And Marseille is obviously producing, directing, and starring in. So it's like, do your thing, girl. Do your thing. That's one little boss lady. So, and Team Kelly Rowland all day, every day. That was like my crush in Destiny's Child. Ah.